Hey everybody, welcome back to Nick's Mini Bikes. Today we're going to try to get some gussets on this trike and get our brakes set up. So I got another box here from Kart Supply. Link to their store will be in the description. Go check them out. They got quite a bit of good stuff. So what I got in here today is we got some hydraulic brakes, we got some 40 chain, master lathe, got a split sprocket, 56 tooth, and we got us a brake rotor. So we'll be getting this on today, and those hydraulic brakes, and hopefully some gussets. That's my plan. So let's get to it. So we got our axle here. We've got this hub on, and I got a lock collar down on. Just think about what we want. So I'm going to slide a bearing on, and then I want my brake rotor. Then I want my split sprocket adapter. Then I want my other bearing. I'm going to put my hub on. I'll put a washer and a nut. I laid my wheel. And my 4 lug nuts. Now we'll put this back under the bike. Now we'll get that rear end situated. I'm going to get all of our bolts put in our bearings real quick. Alright, I got that axle in place. I got it bolted up so it's sitting exactly where it's going to when we're done. And I got my brake rotor on the right and my split sprocket adapter on the left. So I want to make 100% sure that this brake lever ends up right where I want it. So we're gonna get one of our grips put on there for now. going to put it right to the end there. Clamp it. Then we'll just take our brake lever that we got from Kart Supply, get it in place. We'll route this brake back. So I went ahead and flipped my hose around there. So after looking at this 15 different ways, I like that caliper sitting right there, or somewhere in that area. Maybe not so far back, straight up and down, I don't know. But that puts my bracket on the wrong side to make a bracket. So I'm going to unbolt my bearings, and I'm going to get that rotor on the other side of that bearing bracket. Alright, so I finally decided how I wanted that brake rotor to be on that axle. And now I'm ready to make a bracket for it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I took my caliper apart and I got the mounting bracket off of it. I need to transfer these holes onto a piece of metal. I got a drill bit that fits right through those holes, and I got some wet paint over here. Just going to put some wet paint on the tip of that drill bit. Put it through each hole to mark where those holes are. I got those holes marked. Now I'll drill them out. I'm just going to center punch these holes. Adjust my table. Now we'll drill them out. Go to my next hole. Now that we've got those holes drilled out, we're ready to make some marks and cut our piece. We'll eyeball line up our holes. And we'll just mark this out. I just want to cut the inside out. I'm going to keep the rest a big square. Got that scratch in there. Now we're ready to cut that middle piece out. And I want a fresh straight edge on this side, so I'll mark that. I'll go ahead and mark that too. And I'll mark this side so we know where we're cutting there. Just get it all cut at once. So we got our layout all marked out there, and we'll get her cut out. So we got this all mapped out. Let's go ahead and cut it out. I'm not going to try to match the shape in the center there. I'm just going to cut it out straight. So let's get cutting. So we got that made up. It bolts up nice to our mounting bracket, and we got clearance all the way around so that pad can move through it if it needs to. So we'll get this bolted onto that bracket, get our brakes put together, and see about how we're going to mount this to the back of that trike. So I bled the brakes, set the e-brake so it holds it on the rotor. Now I need to make a piece of metal to go from the bracket we made over to the frame and bearing bracket here. So there's no rhyme or reason where I'm deciding to put this. I want it at the edge, and the only hole saw I got is this one. It's a 1 inch. Pretty sure those tubes are 7/8, so should be all right there. But I want it at the edge, and yeah, so that's what we're doing. Got that cut. Now we'll get a length. So that didn't work out quite like I hoped it would. It is way too big. I would have had to weld like a 1/4 inch gap. So I took some eyeball measurements and I need to cut that out right there. So I'll get this cut out and bring you back. Alright, so we got this piece made up and it fits really good actually. I got my other part of the bracket we're making in the vise there, and I'm just going to weld this on there at a 90-degree angle, and then we'll get it tacked onto the frame. Not a perfect 90, but it'll do. I'll just run a bead across the back here. There we go. Can't be too mad at that. That one. And that one. Those look pretty good. Now we'll go back to the bike and get everything set back where we want it and get this tacked onto the frame. We got our bracket put back on our caliper there. And we'll just slide her into place. We'll pump it up and set that e-brake. We're a little narrow on our bracket, and that's okay. We'll just loosen up all of these set screws and slide everything over. We're just kind of making this bracket on the fly, and we're going to have to modify it here and there. And I already see I'm going to have to cut a little bit off this corner here to clear our bearing. Unless I unbolt these bearings and put them on the outside. That might be what I'll do. I'll unbolt bearings on the outside. Then we'll keep checking on this bracket here. So after a whole lot of fiddling and trying to figure out what we're doing here, right there is where it ended up fitting the best. So I got it locked down with the e-brake again. And I got those pads just past the top of that rotor. Bleeder valve pointed up. I think we're ready to tack it in place. So let me get the welder out over here and we'll get it tacked in place. So I was only able to tack it in a few spots, and that's okay. We'll get this all taken apart and I'll get that welded up. Then we'll show you how to bleed these hydraulic brakes. So it's getting dark outside, so we're going to try to knock this weld out before it is completely dark. Just try to knock it out real quick. Those definitely aren't the prettiest welds in the history of the world. It's dark, it's hard to see, the angles are really funky, but they're long enough, there's got to be enough good weld in there to hold. So yeah, I'm going to get this off and get it back on that axle. Alright, so it's the next day and it snowed overnight. Let's go ahead and bleed these brakes again. I reintroduced air into the line. They're not doing anything right now. So let's go ahead and bleed these brakes. First, we're just going to take this cap off. 2 Phillips head screws. This particular one has a hard plastic piece that goes on there. And a rubber one. So we'll put those together and we'll just set them aside for now. So we want to make sure that we keep this reservoir full. On our cap it says right down here .3 or .4. Got some .3. Just make sure this reservoir is full. Then I'm just gonna pump this really slow because it'll shoot liquid out. When you let loose, it'll shoot. You might not feel anything building up right away, and that's okay. So this time I'm gonna pull it and I'm gonna set the e-brake. That'll hold. Then we'll go down to the caliper. I'll show you what we're doing there. Now with that being held, this should hold what little pressure it has, and we'll just break this bleeder loose. Ideally you want to just crack it and close it right away, but my wrench fell off. We'll just repeat. Slow pumps on the handlebars. Starting to feel pressure now. Set the e-brake. Crack it and close it. And repeat. That lever's feeling pretty good already. Set the e-brake. And we'll just crack it again. Got nothing but fluid that time. Pump it again. I'm going to hold it with my hand this time and we'll crack it, close it. Lost quite a bit of fluid, so I'm just going to top that off again. And we'll repeat. We'll pump it slowly because it's shooting out. That's where I'm losing most of it, is up there at the reservoir. Slowly pump it. We'll hold it. And a little bit out, and then we'll probably call that good. So we like the way that brake lever feels. We'll make sure we're full. We'll top this off. And we'll put our cap back on. So I say those brakes are set good. We're good to go on the bleeding them and getting a bracket made and everything. I know we didn't get the gussets this time. Maybe next time. But it's cold out here. So that's going to do it for this episode of Nick's Mini Bikes. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next one.